Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are here, ready and available to answer your questions. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Texas. We are currently in session A4, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this is also the same order of presentation. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our very first representative from Bennington College.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cristina Perez Ayala. I'm an assistant director of admissions at Bennington College, and I'm very excited to be talking to you about Bennington College today. So Bennington College is a small liberal arts college situated in Bennington, Vermont. We're very close to Albany, which is how students who are coming from far away can get to Bennington. This is the closest airport that we have. We're also 3 hours away from Boston and about 3.5 hours away from New York City. So there's many great things to see in the East Coast and to be able to experience while you're at Bennington College. Bennington College was founded in 1932 as a laboratory for innovation in higher education. Originally a women's college, it has been pushing to break boundaries ever since its origins. We're a small college, but we have a big impact. We have a 10-to-1 faculty to student to faculty ratio. We also have small class sizes, which allow for a great sense of community to be instilled in every student at Bennington, as well as allow the faculty members to get to know their students and their areas of interest and how to be able to continue to share those interests. There are many things for which we are also recognized. We have been recognized as one of the most entrepreneurial colleges, as well as having great college theater, a great classroom experience, among many other things that students might know Bennington for already. We have also a big portion of our student body comes from different parts of the world. So we really like and really push for creating an international mentality and things that students can share and new perspectives that we can learn from while at the college. Home at Bennington looks a little bit like this. We have these 4 different houses, which students filter into according to their own lifestyles and preferences. So students at Bennington can be in a house where there's a lot of outgoing people and people who like to stay late. Or they could be in a house that has a little bit more time for, quiet and gives everybody their space. So depending on the things that really appeal to you and would make you feel comfortable are how your housing will look while at Bennington College. So academics at Bennington looks a little bit differently than it does at other colleges or universities, because here we don't select a major and minors. What we do here is we select areas of study. And from these areas of study, students are really pushed to create the best education that they could possibly get. And this is because they are actively engaged in shaping it. So there is a sense of self-direction while engaging with the areas of study that you want to look into, as well as every student has a committee of faculty members who will be with you from the beginning to the end, helping advise you throughout the way. There are 48 plus areas of study that we have at Bennington. Here are the ones that we are offering today. So finally, one other aspect of Bennington College that really stands out is the fieldwork term. So fieldwork term is a moment between January and February where students have 6 weeks to be actually able to experience that which they are studying in the classroom outside in the working world. So if you're interested in renovating sculptures or paintings, then you might be able to work at Mass MoCA and get to experience what renovation and restoration looks like. If you are interested in some research in different diseases, you might do a fieldwork term in a hospital or in a research institution. If you want to know a little bit more about marketing or VR, you might get to research and work with a company that is focused in this. So this is a way for students at Bennington to be able to immerse themselves in the fields that they love and that they are studying, and come back with new points of view, with new ways of looking at the world. So we have two different applications. Both of them are described in full on the website, so I won't go as much into this. We have been and continue to be test optional, and we have both merit-based aid as well as need-based aid. And your interview, of course, is strongly encouraged. I will put in my details in the chat just in case that you want to contact me for this. We have some dates here that are interesting to know. So we know that from November to January, there are important deadlines to meet regarding application. So thank you so much for listening to my, sorry about that. I put a timer for not to go over the time, but thank you everybody for listening to my presentation. And thank you, Catherine.
Awesome, thank you. The next representative is from Champlain College.
Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Miller. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Champlain College. I am here today to tell you a little bit more about life at Champlain. And I will also put my information in the chat so that way you folks have that as well. So at Champlain, we're a pretty small school located in Burlington, Vermont, right on Lake Champlain. We have about 2,100 undergraduates. So what that means for you is your class sizes are going to be about 12 to 17 students. So if you like that personalized attention, hands-on learning, it could be the right fit for you. We do have students from over 40 states and 18 countries, so it's definitely a diverse place on campus, and it allows you the opportunity to have really in-depth discussions in the classroom and then learn about a lot of different perspectives and interests in people in and out of that experience. So at Champlain, we do education in 3D, so there's 3 major components to your academic model. One is going to be the major. At Champlain, we have an upside down curriculum, which means you start taking classes in your major from day 1. So if you know what you want to do, it's great. You start taking those classes and getting that experience. If you apply undeclared to a division or to Champlain as a whole, then you have the opportunity to take a variety of different classes and really figure out what you like and what you don't like before declaring a major in your second year. At Champlain, we have core classes. So there is no semester where students have to take math, English, science, history. They're much more interdisciplinary, where you're learning all sorts of different skill sets like critical thinking, reading, writing, scientific framework. You're doing research, you're doing independent work, group projects, and there's no tests or exams in those core classes, which is super exciting. And the third piece is the career component. All of our students go through an insight program. So all of our students have a career coach who knows all about the alumni and the different jobs and internships in that industry. And they help prepare you with different activities, resume building workshops, pitch workshops. And they also prepare you for personal finance, which gives you the opportunity to really understand budgeting, loans, credit cards, or how to negotiate salaries. So you have a few different folks in your corner at Champlain, really helping you every step of the way. At Champlain, we have these 4 different divisions: the Stiller School of Business, Communication and Creative Media, Education and Human Studies, and Information Technology Sciences. They house over 32 different majors, 39 minors, and over 60 different areas of concentration. You can see the different classes for each of these majors, as well as our degree design lab, where you can design your own major based on 2 or 3 different areas of study right on our website. At Champlain, a big piece of our curriculum is that experiential learning. So 85% of our students do internships or experiential learning opportunities. They can do them on campus, off campus, or even abroad. At Champlain, we do have 2 international campuses, one in Dublin, Ireland, and one in Montreal, Canada. So we make it really easy for students to get those classes in for their major, as well as working with different companies. We do have partnerships, and you can really go anywhere else in the world that you want to by working with your study abroad advisor, which is amazing. While you're at Champlain, we do have 21 Victorian mansions that you can call home. Housing is guaranteed for that first year. We do offer these mansions. We have modern style living as well. We have gender fluid housing, and we have apartment style for upperclassmen. So there's a wide variety of different housing options for you when you live in Burlington. In addition to the beautiful mansions and different types of housing, we do have over 60 student-run clubs and orgs and over 15 rec and intramural sports. Our students are highly involved in different social justice activities, working within the community, volunteering, or playing different sports like esports, rugby, and ski and ride is very popular with all of the mountains around us. We have other clubs like the Champlayers, Student Government, Multicultural Club. And so check out our students and see what they're doing from our website and what types of clubs you might like to get involved in. Burlington is a wonderful area. It's a great college town. There's lots of great things like Ben and Jerry's downtown and the lakefront, and lots of networking opportunities. So definitely check out everything that not just the campus has to offer, but the area around us. We live in a great community with lots of supportive folks as well as different activities. So it's definitely a great place to call home every season. So for Champlain, we offer early decision and regular decision. We are coming up on our early decision deadline. So if you love Champlain, submit that application and your FAFSA, so that way you get all of that information back before that holiday break. Our regular decision students have until January 15th and May 1st to make that final decision. Here are all the variety of different application requirements for our students. You can find the Common App or the Champlain app right on our website, and that gives you a great way to start that application. If you submit it by November 15th, you're eligible for a free Champlain sweatshirt, which is exciting. We are SAT or ACT optional, so you don't need those to be considered for merit scholarships or admission to the school. You're automatically considered for merit scholarships, which is fantastic. If you're interested in some of our art programs, you can dive deeper on the website and notice that these 5 different programs will require that added portfolio piece. So you can work with our faculty to submit this work and show off your skills. Definitely apply for financial aid if you're interested in that. And always remember, we have the Count on It guarantee here at Champlain. So any of those scholarships that you get your first year automatically renew from year to year that you're here at Champlain. Thanks everyone for being here today, and definitely come back and visit us on campus or virtually for some of those open houses coming up on November 6th and November 10th. Thanks everyone.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Just a friendly reminder that if anyone has any questions at all, to feel free to submit those questions using the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen. Any questions at all, our representatives are here to assist. The next representative is from James Madison University.
Thanks, Catherine. So, hi, my name is Erin. I am one of the system directors in the admissions office at James Madison University. I'm also a very proud JMU alum, so I like to say I have the best job in the world since I get to talk about my favorite place all the time. And JMU is one of the public universities located in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It's a little further south from those two schools you've heard from already this evening. And we are, like I said, we're in Virginia on the East Coast. We're one of the bigger publics by Virginia standards, and we have a lot of school spirit, a lot of traditions on campus, and everything you would expect from the big public university. About 89% of our freshmen return their sophomore year, which is a pretty high freshman retention rate. We are Division I of the NCAA for all of our varsity sports, as well as having club and intramurals. And we have very proud of our very high alumni satisfaction rate. Total undergraduate population is about 20,000 with about 2,000 grad students. Being a public university means we do have about 76% of our students come from Virginia, then about 24% from out of state. We have around 48 states represented right now in about 65 different countries. So there is a good mix amongst that student population. In terms of the admissions process, our application is online, and we have 3 different application forms you can choose from. We have the JMU specific application. We are also part of the Coalition platform. And this year, for the first time ever, we are on the Common App. Once you go to the JMU website, you can link to any one of those 3 applications, and we don't have a preference of one over the other. In fact, by the time your application gets to me to review, it looks the same no matter which form you used. So it truly is up to you. And our review process is heavily based on your academics. I spend most of my time really just studying your transcript. And I'm looking to see, did you challenge yourself academically within the context of your high school experience? So based on the classes that you had in high school, did you take the challenging classes in those core subject areas? So whether that's advanced placement, international baccalaureate, dual enrollment, honors, whatever your high school might offer. And if your high school doesn't offer those things, that's okay. We just want to see that you challenge yourself with what you had available. So after I look at that part of your transcript and see how challenging your courses were, then I look at your grades, not your GPA, but your actual final grades. And I'm looking to see mostly A's and B's in those subjects. And those 2 academic pieces make up the majority of our admission decision. We went test-free back in 2017. So that means we are not using the SAT or the ACT for admission. We don't require it for merit-based scholarship consideration, and we do not require it for the Honors College. We are not using test scores at all. So whether you send scores or not, I'm not even looking at that part of my screen. So truly, we're not using them high, low, good, bad. We're not using test scores. We also don't have a required essay or required letter of recommendation. Both those pieces are optional, and if those things are part of your file, I promise that I will read them, but it is okay not to send them. Every year, thousands of students send us their transcript and their application and are offered admission just based on those 2 pieces. Our first deadline for freshmen is November 1st, and that's an early action deadline. Early action is non-binding. So students who apply by November 1 and check that early action box, we hear back from us in early to mid-January. And if they're offered admission, they still have until May 1st to let us know if they'd like to accept that offer or not. That non-binding means the choice is still yours as an applicant. January 15th is our regular decision deadline. We'll notify in early to mid-March. And again, May 1st is the deposit deadline to let us know if you want to accept any offer of admission. So from an academic standpoint, we offer about 164 different academic programs between majors, minors, concentrations, programs of study. When I was at JMU, my major was communication studies. I had a concentration in public relations and a minor in human resource development. That's a lot of words that just mean I'm a people person, and those were the classes that interested me most. But it is very common for our students to double major or add different components to their academic path. One of my favorite stories was a couple of years ago, we had a young man come talk to the opening faculty meeting. He had just graduated, and he was the double major at JMU, and he was a member of our honors college. So he was working very hard in his 4 years. And his 2 majors were chemistry and musical theater. Chemistry and musical theater. None of those classes overlapped, but he was passionate about the sciences and about the arts, and he didn't want to choose. And at JMU, you are supported and encouraged in pursuing everything you're passionate about. And for his honors thesis, since he had to combine both majors, he wrote a musical about chemistry. It was really cute, Bonded the Musical. You can actually still find the staged reading of that musical online. I think it was a great way to combine two very different majors. So when I say you can study anything and be in and out in 4 years, clearly he's an example of just how easy that is. So in terms of location, Harrisonburg's a great college town. We're located right off of Interstate 81. It's about a 2-hour drive to Washington, D.C., and about a 2-hour drive to Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital. We are in the Shenandoah Valley, so we've got the Blue Ridge Mountains on one side, the Allegheny Mountains on the other. Gorgeous part to be. We definitely do get to experience all 4 seasons. Shenandoah Valley Regional Airport is about 20 minutes from campus. That is the closest airport, and they have daily direct flights to Chicago as well as to Washington, D.C. But then there's a number of other airport options within 1 or 2 hour drive with a lot of different ways to get to and from the airport for students that are looking to travel. Being in the valley, we've got some great outdoor activities as well. There's a state park, a national forest, as well as a ski resort, all within about 20 minutes. Now, this is Virginia, so if we get 2 inches of snow, we panic and get a snow day out of it. So that ski resort has to make a lot of their own snow, but it is nice to have that nearby for students that want to take advantage of skiing, snowboarding, snow tubing, those opportunities. We are open for all kinds of visitation. We've got guided information or guided tours along with information sessions. We have self-guided tours. We have in-person open houses. We have virtual open houses, virtual information sessions, and we have those things all year round. So we'd love to have you come visit campus. That is one of the things we love, is to have students come and get to experience JMU for themselves. I am the admissions counselor for Texas, so I'll put my information in the chat, but you're always more than welcome to reach out to me with any questions at any point during your search process. And with that, I will turn it over to the next person.
Awesome, thank you. Just another friendly reminder before we hear from our last representative that if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those questions in the Q&A button. Any questions at all about the college application process, or even if you have a specific question for any of our reps here today, we encourage you to include the school name. The last representative, but certainly not least, is from the University of Mary Washington.
Hello, my name is Haley Dunahee. I am an admissions counselor from the University of Mary Washington. I'm actually covering for Adam Moore, who is the recruiter for University of Mary Washington for Texas. And I will drop his email in the chat so that you can get that and contact him. But for now, you're going to be talking to me. I am a class of 2021 graduate from Mary Washington, so I know all about the student life and the academic side of things, as well as now I'm learning all about the admissions counselor side of things. I absolutely love my time at Mary Washington, and we are kind of uniquely and perfectly located. So we are about halfway between Washington, D.C. and Richmond, Virginia, which, as was mentioned earlier, Richmond is the capital of Virginia, and then we have D.C. about an hour away. It is awesome because we have a ton of things that we can do in Fredericksburg. So Fredericksburg has downtown Fredericksburg, which has lots of like mom and pop places that you can eat lunch. There's ice cream shops, there's thrift stores, and it's only a 5-minute to 10-minute walk from campus. So you can really go down there on the weekend, and we find that students will go there pretty often to kind of explore that area. But there's also a bus that is free to all students that will take you to downtown, but then also to Central Park, which has our malls and a couple of other stores that you can go to as well. So there's lots of things that you can do on campus. But there's also a train that is in downtown Fredericksburg. So again, a 10-minute walk from campus that will take you right up into DC and into the major airports in there, as well as the metro. And you can also go up there on the weekend because it's pretty quick. It's about less than an hour. And my friends and I did that going into my sophomore year, where we went into DC for a day, and we actually walked on the frozen reflecting pool, which was a very fun experience. But again, we were able to do that because the VRE and the train is right in downtown Fredericksburg, and we were able to walk there. We are pretty small. We're about 4,100 undergraduate students with an average class size about 19. So again, you really get to know your professors get to know you. And that is one of the things that I loved about my time at Mary Washington, is really getting to know them. By the end of the first week, they are going to know your name, which is kind of nice. And it also gives you the opportunity to ask questions and kind of go into them and their office hours that they host every week and answer any questions that they have for you. It's also a really great way to kind of get leads on internships as well. So between the faculty interactions, there we go, and then also our location, we have a ton of internship opportunities for you. So we have students who will go into DC for weekends to do internships, people who will travel right down to Richmond, but then we also host an internship fair with the Center for Career and Professional Development, where they come in, bring organizations from Washington, D.C., Richmond, and even Baltimore up in Maryland to have interviews right there. You come, you dress in your business outfit, bring your resume, and you have interviews right there for an internship post-graduation or a job post-grad as well. So there's so many opportunities with that. Again, we have an average class that has about 19 students, so you really get to know your professor and your professors get to know you. But we also have a very large research grant that goes towards the university as well. So there are ample opportunities for graduate level research at the undergraduate level with that $750,000 research grant. There are plenty of examples of things that we can do. I did a research project with Women in Gender Studies where I analyzed different country music videos and got to present that for the university. There are students that I know that are doing research with mice and testing different levels of hormones in their brain. So things like that will always happen, again, because of that graduate level research at the undergraduate level, that faculty to student interaction that is so adamant at Mary Washington as well. We have more than 150 clubs and organizations, so we're pretty prominent with that. We have religious organizations, we have volunteer organizations, we have club sports, all sorts of things, and they usually happen on Ball Circle, which is kind of where this picture was taken. This is one of our traditions called Devil Goat Day, so it sounds a little odd, but if you graduate in an odd year, you're a devil, go Devils, and if you graduate in an even year, you're a goat. And we do a competition kind of throughout the day with like moon bounces, inflatable hamster balls that you run through, tug of war, jousting tournaments, and you get a red or green t-shirt depending on which one you are, and they keep track of who wins, and by the end of the day, they see which one is superior, devils or goats. We have a huge study abroad program at Mary Washington as well. So we have 135 programs with over 56 different countries, ranging from summer programs to semester programs, year-long programs, as well as some spring break programs. The one that I always mention is a spring break program that's led by a faculty member, and they go to the Galapagos Islands and do different types of research down there. That is usually for the biology and environmental science majors, but there are so many opportunities and things like that. I almost went to Dublin and did communication because I was a communication and digital studies major while I was at Mary Washington, but I didn't get to do that because of COVID. It is still on my list, but that is kind of an example of some of those study abroad programs. We're also a D3 school in athletics, with the exception of our rugby team. They are D1, but the rest of our varsity levels are going to be a D3 university overall. You can contact us on any of these social media, the email, or the phone number. There's a couple of things that I also still want to talk about as well. So I'll kind of go back to the first page. We also offer merit scholarships for students. So you're automatically put into a pool for those. You don't have to tell us that you're interested in them. It's based on GPA and SAT score, but don't worry, if you don't want to send those SAT or ACT scores, you do not have to. We are a test choice school, which means you can test out of those as well. That's all I have for you. And thank you so much for watching my presentation.
Very helpful information. Thank you. We do have some time left, and so we are now going to pivot into our Q&A portion of this session. I invite all our representatives at this time to go ahead and turn on their cameras and get ready to unmute for our first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented it.
Thank you, Catherine. So I think the best advice to give anybody is to remember to rely on communication, whether that is asking questions or reaching out to somebody, maybe getting some advice from somebody who's been through the process recently. So just remember to communicate all of those things that make you maybe a little bit antsy. Ask those questions that are, filling up your mind, and just continue to communicate.
Us Vermont schools are on the same wavelength, Christina. I would recommend that students you stay in touch with us, ask us any questions that you have so we can put you at ease. Visit as many times as you can, whether that's in person or virtual. So that way you can really get a feel for what the students are like, what the faculty is like, and what campus is like. Go in different seasons so you can experience something that might be different than where you're living now. Always ask us questions, but we're happy to always connect you with students and faculty, because those are the ones that you're going to be surrounded with all the time as a student. So get that true student perspective when you're looking at different schools.
My advice is a little bit for students, a little bit for parents. Set up maybe once a week time that you're going to talk about the college application process. So, that's when you're going to talk about it, and it's not hanging over your head with every conversation you have, every dinner table conversation. But if you dedicate, once a week, that's when you're going to go over deadlines and make sure everyone's on the same page. That can reduce the anxiety for everyone, and make that a little bit of a smoother process.
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of some of them. Definitely for me, it was seeing the campuses and kind of going to visit them. I thought that was really something that made a difference for me, but also if the school was offering interviews. So it was something that I didn't mention before, but Mary Washington is offering interviews for seniors right now as well. So if it's an opportunity for you to kind of show more of yourself and more of kind of what your extracurriculars are and things that you've done, more than we can just read on your application. And for me, that's really made a difference, kind of connecting with those students and seeing the things that they do, because sometimes you can't get all that information exactly from your transcripts or your resume or things like that. So if the school is offering interviews, definitely take advantage of those for sure.
All great advice. Thank you so much. It's really helpful to hear directly from those who work at the respective institutions to just offer tips and suggestions, especially as you all are working with so many different prospective students. So very helpful there. Our next question is, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? What's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
Thank you, Catherine. So one thing that makes Bennington stand out is its student involvement and the way that Bennington is always breaking boundaries in many different respects. And I'm going to focus on student involvement. So at Bennington, students are involved not only in creating their own academic plans, but also in many of the decisions that are taking around the college. So regarding maybe dining services, regarding traditions and things that happen around the college, regarding many other decisions that you would not imagine that a student would be able to share some insight into different aspects of the college. Student involvement is very big at Bennington. The student is at the center of everything. Thank you.
One thing I would encourage students to remember about Champlain is that upside down curriculum. So our students are taking classes in their major right off the bat. And if you're undecided, it's great to really be able to explore those different classes in those first couple of years, or design your own curriculum. So that way you can really figure out what is the best fit for you. As a result of this and the career coaches that our students have and the internships, 86% of our students are employed in fields that they actually studied at Champlain. So there's definitely a high employment rate correlated to all those experiences that you're getting in the classroom, outside of the classroom, just by getting that experience from day one at Champlain.
Something to remember about JMU is that we have the opportunities and resources of the larger public university, but the feeling academically and sense of community of a much smaller school. So you can make those connections with faculty and staff, you get to know your classmates, but you have so many amazing opportunities available to you, from academic to extracurricular to athletic, everything you can possibly want all on one college campus.
For Mary Washington, it's definitely location, location, location. It is right between Washington, D.C. and Richmond, but we also just have downtown Fredericksburg, and that's an area where students can kind of get off campus for a little bit and go downtown. They can walk there, but it's also great because you have internship opportunities in D.C. You can go up there and visit the museums for a day or two, and there's always opportunities for you to kind of do things, and it's a really unique location as well.
Each institution is truly unique. And so we can definitely see that through the different arrays of schools represented. So very helpful to consider. And our last question here is, what is one myth you would like to debunk on the college admissions process? What is one myth you would like to debunk on the college admissions process?
Thank you, Catherine. One thing that sort of goes around and is sort of an unspoken myth is about having to be very, very explicit or to exploit oneself in the college essay. And this is something that I would really like to touch upon, because what we want to see and what we want to know about, as Erin was talking about when she talked about admissions at James Madison, is we want to get to know you and who you are, what you love, the things that move you. But this doesn't need to make you feel exploited or very vulnerable. So that is one thing to consider. We just want to get to know you. So if your essay is able to let us get to know you through a door, whether it is why you love the color yellow or why a science experiment turned your life around, that is perfectly great. And it's going to be unique as you are and as any individual is. So thank you for that.
One thing that is definitely a big consideration for students throughout the college search process and decision process is financial aid or merit scholarships. So at Champlain, we do have 96% of our students on financial aid. You can get both merit scholarships and financial aid. As admissions counselors, we read need blind. So all of those different pieces that folks have told you today that are required for your application, we look at all of those and then we send those over to our financial aid team. And so that way they can give you merit scholarships. In addition to that, if you submit the FAFSA, you also get financial aid. So it's not just one or the other. It doesn't impact your admissions decision. It's in addition to your admissions decision that you might get merit scholarships that renew every year, financial aid, and any scholarships that you apply for outside of your school. Maybe they're local Rotary scholarships or school scholarships. Definitely check out all of those because those will go on top of what you've already earned from that school. So I know the financial piece can always be a little scary, but don't hesitate to reach out to your financial aid counselor and just remember that everything goes on top of is in addition to your admissions decision.
One common myth that I've heard, even when I was looking at schools, is that these decisions are just kind of random decisions, and people are either dumping a bucket of applications down the stairs or just playing roulette on their computer to decide who to admit and who not to admit. So know that there are very intentional thought processes. There are humans behind these decisions, and we're just trying to do our best to help you guys find the right fit for you. With 4,000 universities out there, there's going to be the right school for you. And there might be more than one right school for you. So there's not going to be just one place. So keep in mind, the decisions are intentional. There's humans behind them, and you're going to find the place that's the right fit for you.
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of the fact that we're humans too. I think a lot of people are very scared to talk to their admissions counselors or like think of us as people or like people that you can like ask questions to. So I've seen students that are very timid or like scared to ask me, thinking that they're going to say something wrong. Like, we're here for you. We're here to help you. Like, that's our job. That's what we need. Like, we're here to coach you, help you do all those things. So don't be scared to reach out to us or be worried that you're going to say something wrong. Like, that's our job. We're here. We're here for you, and we're people for you as well.
Awesome. What a great way to end. So much helpful things, again, to keep in mind. There are a lot of myths out there, and they can often be a little scary to think about, again, as anyone going through the college application process. So you've heard it first from the college admission representatives here. Again, there are a lot of myths, but they're here to debunk them. So again, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and thank you to each of you for joining us. As we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback is extremely helpful. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/Texas if you would like to watch later on demand. Again, thank you all and have a great night.